Alright, what is up everyone? In this video, we're gonna have to talk about Childe. So, we're gonna get the Childe banner very soon, and a lot of people might be asking, is C0 Childe worth it? In my opinion, yes. However, you're gonna need to have a lot of support characters, and the best support character for Childe is known to be Beidou, which I think is a little weird, but hey, it makes sense. The reason why I didn't like Electro characters is because in order for you to get the Electro-related reactions to do big damage, you have to level up a lot. And I made her to level 90, and I gave her some talent levels, and I still don't like her. And I can't still agree that Beidou is going to be the best support for Tartaglia. If anything, you should be using Xingqiu. Xingqiu can never go wrong, and Xingqiu can work in any kind of party, as well as Bennett. Even if you have Bennett at C6 for Tartaglia, melee attacks, it's not going to convert his attack to Pyro, so that's always a good thing. So even if you have C6 Bennett, Tartaglia's melee attack is not going to be converted into Pyro, even if you have Bennett at C6, because Childe is a bow user. Anyways, my recommended party for Childe is gonna be Bennett plus Xingqiu. And you can add the last character as anything because Tartaglia, Bennett, Xingqiu is gonna do everything. But let's think about this together. Let's assume that my Tartaglia is C0. But let's say it does a lot of damage because you would be spending a lot of resin and get a lot of those nice hydro sets. Okay, so there's this big DPS that you can use for maybe 10 to 20 seconds. If you use more longer than that, then you can't use it for maybe 1 minute. So it's not a good thing. So it's better for you to use him in the field for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and then swap to a different character. So if you have, by any chance, Bennett and Xingqiu, I think Beidou is not a good idea because imagine if you can't use Childe, then it's gonna be Bennett, Xingqiu, and Beidou. And yes, because Bennett and Xingqiu is so good, Beidou will seem like it's gonna work as well. But for me, if you were to use Beidou, I'd rather use Visual. Zhongli is a very good choice. However, because I have Zhongli built as a burst support, I can't really have Zhongli here. So, because I have Xingqiu, I can probably put a Pyro DPS that would work really well because I have Bennett. So you can probably add Diluc, Hu Tao, or Klee. You can even have Xiangling. It should also work. Except you're gonna have to have all those 3 support characters to be really strong. If you don't have enough resource to make your support to level 90 or 80 and have those nice artifacts, then have Childe and Pyro. Well, I mean, you know how Diluc and Xingqiu works, right? So you kind of get the idea. And then we can talk about Childe's weapon and artifacts, talent level ups, okay? So for the weapon, best in slot weapon is going to be Skyward Harp. You can also use Rust, you can use the Battle Pass bow. You can also use the Stringless if you want to use him for the burst damage. But if you have him at C0 and thinking about whether if you should be using him as a DPS or not, you should probably not go for Stringless. And you know, Windbloom Ode also works. It says that if you have him at R5, then if you use Elemental Skill, then you get that 32% attack increase for 6 seconds. That means you're going to be using him for 6 seconds and swap out to a different character. That still works, but think about this, okay? Think about how you should be using Windbloom Ode. Because the Windbloom Ode is supposed to be a downgrade Stringless. And for the artifacts, as soon as I completed the 4-piece Hydro set, I was very satisfied. I started doing like a 10k damage from his melee. I was like, whoa, that is pretty good. But then again, it's because I have the Constellation. I've got a little boost for his E skill. But if you have him at C0, you should be expecting maybe 7k, 6k, even with the Skyward Harp. But that is still good. 6k, 7k each hit? Okay, who's gonna say no to that? And you might think about whether you should be going for E or Q. So for talent levels, there is an auto attack, and I rarely use auto attacks. And even if I do like no damage. So if I could turn back the time, I would probably work on his E and Q only, not his auto attack. But that is very good. A character that is okay to use, or rather great. And then you only need to spend 2/3 of the talent materials that you're supposed to use. So I think that's a very good strength about Childe when we have like limited amount of resource. That's always a good thing. Let's go ahead and take a look at this combination. We can take them to the Dragonspine domain and see how it works. And because this team has 2 Pyro and 2 Hydro, you shouldn't do this team in Spiral Abyss because if you have to go against that Electro Fatui, then this team is not going to be great because you would need that Cryo to get rid of the Electro Shield, right? Okay, here we go. Dodge that. Okay. Let me get rid of these dumb things. Alright, there's Xingqiu ult. That's more than good enough. I don't think that was a good showcase because my Diluc is just too strong. And my Childe is strong as well. And there's Xingqiu in it. But you kind of get the idea, right? So as long as you have 2 good DPS, then you can have your support to be really weak. And if you want your Xingqiu to be like level 1, then make sure that you get all those energy charge and then he has that constellation. Without the constellation, I don't think Xingqiu is going to be a very good support for our Childe. But, I mean, if you spend money or if you do enough summons to get Childe, after hitting a maybe off banner, then you would probably end up with more than 2 Xingqiu. How about we go find a tankier boss? Alright, so here you are. I have all those ults. Okay, here we go. I can just use Childe to kill him. Okay, then let's assume that I can't use Childe for a while. Okay, if I show you the delay, right? That's 10 seconds. It's because of the constellation. So when you cannot use Tartaglia, right? And then we have Diluc to finish off those monsters. Let me repeat this again. And yes, you can probably use Beidou instead of Diluc. But think about this. When you cannot use Tartaglia and you have Bennett and Xingqiu, what would be better to have? Either Beidou or Diluc. In my opinion, it would be much better for you to utilize Xingqiu with a nice pyro DPS. Because Bennett is a healer, a buffer, so yeah, it's totally up to you. Like, those 2 DPS, like Tartaglia and Diluc, they can both benefit from Bennett's Q. Let's say your main DPS is Keqing, where you have to do a lot of charge attack spams. If you have Bennett Q at C6, then things are not going to work out pretty well. But this team is going to be great for anyone, I would say. So yeah, if somebody asks me if they should go for Tartaglia, my answer is, if you don't have any other DPS, then yes. However, keep that in mind that DPS are going to be power crept in the future. There's a very good chance. So, for example, when Childe came out, he was a good DPS. He had a good burst. So, like, before Childe, Mona was like the biggest burst DPS, right? And then Tartaglia came out. So we're just like, oh, he's okay. But he's got this weird melee stance cooldown thing. So people didn't go for that. And then after, we've got 2 Geo male characters and people are like, yo, we should have went for Childe because Childe was pretty cool. And then the whole community blew up because Zhongli was not very strong. And then, you know, this thing happened. Anyways, keep that in mind that if you spend money for Childe or if you spend your Primogems for Childe and get him, yeah, you're gonna be okay. Because I think miHoYo is trying to control the difficulties because the difficulty when you play on your phone and PC are different. And for combats too, you have to dodge a lot. But then sometimes when your phone is really laggy, then your playing experience is gonna be not so great. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this video helps you to think whether if you should be going for Childe or not. And I'll see you guys later. Adios.